Getting the basic pieces in place, including power of attorney, healthcare proxy, will, trust, all those things, and working closely with your family to make sure you're organized and ready to go in case the worst happens.
You should also know there are strategies you can employ, even if you currently have a loved one in a nursing home.
When there's a crisis and someone's entered a nursing home, there are things we can do to act very quickly to protect some of the assets. It really does require that an elder law attorney be involved because the techniques that are used are very technical in nature.
To find out more about strategies to protect your loved ones through proper estate planning, contact us at Hilton Estate and Elder Law. Call for more information and to schedule an in-person meeting to answer your questions.
Hilton, you know the name, they know the law. Hilton Estate and Elder Law.
The Rome Capitol Theater presents Drive-In Double Feature Night. Tonight at 7. Projected on 35mm film. Curse of the Demon and It, the Terror from Beyond Space. Plus vintage drive-in trailers, coming attractions, and drive-in style food and concessions. It's the Drive-In Double Feature experience inside the Capitol Theater. Tonight at 7. For more information, visit RomeCapital.com.
Paid for by government.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $20 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-888-201-7082, and you are guaranteed a $20 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-888-201-7082. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-888-201-7082 now to secure your $20 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-888-201-7082.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, good morning. First News Keeler in the morning here on WIBX 950 AM, 106.9 FM. It is a live show today. We just started with a little look back at one of our programs from last week. Ben Simons was the guest host, and we were talking with Beth Irons about the local farmers markets. Smitty, do you get out there to the farmers markets?
Oh, yes, I do. I go to the one Monday in Whitesboro, and then I stop at maybe Clinton on Thursdays. But I definitely hit the one in Whitesboro every Monday.
Yeah, they've got some good stuff there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the farmers markets. So we were just playing that as we settled in here this morning. I think everything is up and running as far as the YouTube goes. We had to do some chord rearranges and some mixes here, but it should be up and running here this morning. Call Smitty and let him know if it's not working. It is a Friday morning. Smitty, we made it through 2 weeks, you and I.
You and me?
Well, the only thing consistent around here was you and I. We had a different host, a guest host every day.
Right.
Right. That's right.
But when we go on vacation, when we go on vacation, it's only going to be you and Bill, me and Bill, all three of us. Who cares?
When am I going on vacation? You know something I don't know?
No, I'm going on vacation in a few weeks.
Oh, that's nice. Where are you going?
I'm just going away for a few days.
Okay, I got you. All right. Go ahead.
And it's not going to be down to see my buddy either, who everybody thinks I'm going to go see.
Oh, I don't know who that is, but...
Jimmy.
Rondinelli?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, he's only in North Utica. It's not really a vacation. I mean, no offense to North Utica, but... So anyway, Smitty, big weekend. Let me give you an idea here as to what we got coming up. We'll talk with Willie Waffle in just a few minutes. We're going to talk with Carl Trainer about the Boonville Oneida County Fair. There's an interesting history there, and it's gone on for decades, and maybe I'm even not exaggerating if I say centuries. Carl's going to give us some history on that, where it started, how it's evolved, and then what we can expect, because I believe the fair begins next week up in Boonville. We'll talk with Lou Rea about the Taste of Lebanon. That's going on this weekend. Huge weekend in Cooperstown, Smitty. Craig Muter, he's going to call in from the Baseball Hall of Fame. and tell us what we can expect this weekend in Cooperstown, New York. And certainly if you're going, I think you should go early. It's not going to be like the year that Jeter or Mariano Rivera got inducted. Obviously, I don't think there's a Yankee on the who's going in? There's two going in this year. Off the top of my head, I can't think.
The crime dog, Fred McGriff.
That's correct.
And Scott Rowland from the Cardinals.
Very good, Smitty. You have a great memory.
Because I'm going to Cooperstown.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Are you going to Cooperstown?
Yes.
How did I know? So what are you going down there for? Do you go looking for autographs? Do you go looking for jerseys? Do you just want to watch the ceremony? What do you do down there?
Well, I go down. I'm going to go. First thing I'm going to do is get a new hat for my hat collection.
Okay. What are you looking at?
I don't know.
Just whatever catches your eye?
I really would like to buy something from the Yankees farm team, like the Somerset Yankees or the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Barons, Red Barons.
Okay.
Or whatever catches my eye. And then I'm going to go try to get some autographs. The two people from the Sandlot are going to be down there.
What do you mean? The movie.
The movie Sandlot. Two of the actors.
I saw that. I saw a flyer or a billboard.
Yeah.
I just watched Sandlot with my son in the spring.
The one that did Cannonball and the one that the Squincher guy. I don't know who they are.
The Squincher guy. He squinting his eyes?
Yes.
Yeah, when he wore the glasses. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was the only reason I mentioned Sandlot that I watched it with my son is because it's one of the few movies that he actually that was in my generation that he can sit through. I feel like the movies moved slower. The kids today with all the YouTube and all these different things, the cuts are so quick. The pace of the show seems to move along much faster.
Well, maybe the man who knows everything about movies would know who the actors or Willie is on.
Boy, that would be a heck of a trivia pull. And I'm not even Willie. I'm putting you on the spot. You couldn't name.
Oh no.
No, yeah, but you've seen Sandlot, of course.
Oh, of course.
Great movie. My son is 7, and we watched it together. And it was one he actually was willing to go all the way through. And we watched the whole thing. Yeah. So I thought that was fun. But everything else from my generation, we get 40 seconds in. He's like, Dad, can I go to bed? I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, he'll literally rather go to bed than watch some of these movies. Anyway, how you doing today, Willie?
No, I'm doing fine. I mean, I see where you're coming from, though. I mean, yeah, movies and television and everything in entertainment was a slower pace 30 and 40 and 20 years ago. And, and even I catch on to that. Sometimes, I'll be watching some movie that I loved, 20 years ago, and I'm like, this moves a lot slower than I thought it did. This is, it's not as exciting as I remembered. And yeah, it's because, like you said, the attention span has shrunk in society, and everything has to be go, 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 go.
So what's Goonies? Is that a movie? What was the real name of it?
The Goonies.
It wasn't really called The Goonies, though, was it? Didn't it have a different name?
No, it was called The Goonies.
Huh. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Maybe it is The Goonies. I put it on Hulu the other day, and this was another example of we didn't get 40 seconds in, and he was like, Dad, I don't want to watch this. I can tell I'm not going to like this movie. I'm like, this is like almost a classic movie for a kid. He's like, Dad, I can tell I'm not going to like it. Okay, whatever. So we stopped watching.
Have you introduced him to Star Wars yet?
All right, so here's the deal. We have some Star Wars games. He's got some Star Wars action figures. But again, I've tried to sit him down to watch. Let's pick a starting point and get into it. And he's not really that engaged with it at this point. That he wants to watch all the different movies and stuff. And I also think he sees some of it and thinks that it doesn't move at a pace that he's used to.
That's true. And I hope he changes. Let's give him a couple of years. Let's let him mature into Star Wars.
I'm with you. I tried doing, what's the other one? There's Harry Potter. Harry Potter. We've watched the first one, and I couldn't get him to kind of sit down and spend a weekend diving into a bunch of the movies.
Yeah.
So
I think Harry Potter's hard for a 7-year-old. I think you almost do need to be 10 or 11.
Gotcha. Okay. That's a good tip. So how have you been, Willie? We didn't catch you last week because we were out on location, but how have you been?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm just, I'm fascinated by the way Hollywood is destroying itself right now.
Yeah,
the strike is just tearing everything apart. All plans are being thrown in the garbage. You thought you had a fall schedule? You don't. You thought your movie was coming out this fall? It's not. It's getting crazy.
What's been canceled? What as far as shows and movies? What's been put on the shelf? I mean, everything's on the shelf, I guess, but
yeah. Well, movie studios are now considering whether or not they can actually release some of their big movies this fall. Right now, there's a story going around that Warner Brothers is heavily considering if they're going to move The Color Purple, which was going to be their big Christmas movie. They're considering whether they're going to move Dune 2, which is the big sequel to the Dune movie. They're considering even Aquaman 2 abandoning the Christmas season. And a lot of it is because actors, because they're on strike, are not going out and promoting movies. They're not doing the television interviews. They're not doing the red carpets. This is part of the strike. And they're doing the calculation, and they're realizing we need those people. Matter of fact, they need them so much. Of all the people in Hollywood who has tried to kind of bridge the gap and bring the two sides together, it was Mr. Tom Cruise, believe it or not. Tom Cruise met with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers to argue why they should listen to the actors when it comes to the pay increases for the stunt people, as well as their concerns about artificial intelligence and deep fakes and the use of images, long after somebody may be dead. And he met with the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA to try to convince them they should allow all the actors to promote their movies over the summer because it's going to hurt the movie theaters. Because, if they don't sell tickets, the theaters who are already in a hard position will suffer. Oh, and it didn't hurt that he has a big movie out this summer either. I mean,
yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so that's been going on. Now, on television, NBC and CBS have pretty much they've kind of given up the fall season a little bit. They're pushing a lot of their TV shows just into 2024. So, NBC is a great example. They've basically said you're not going to see any of the Chicago shows in the fall. You'll see some repeats, but they're going to bring in things like Quantum Leap and Magnum PI, which were already completed and were slated to premiere in the winter in 2024. They're going to bring them into the fall. They're also bringing in a Canadian medical drama to play on Thursday nights, and they're going to have some repeats of Law and Order. And then NBC, if you ever watch The Voice, you're going to be sick of The Voice by the end of December because NBC is going to be The Voice channel. They're bringing it like as many nights as they can. They're expanding it. They're doing recap shows. They're going to fill all their time with that. Now, CBS is doing something really interesting. CBS did what I think you and I and Bill had talked about a few weeks ago. They're digging into their streaming content. And my friends, this Sunday or this fall on Sundays on CBS, you are going to be watching Yellowstone.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep. They're going to bring in Yellowstone from season 1. They're going to have to do some editing.
I was going to say it doesn't completely fit that way, but yeah.
But they're going to do that. They're bringing back SEAL Team. If you remember, SEAL Team was on CBS for a long time. It got moved to Paramount Plus. Well, now they're going to put it back on CBS because they've got some episodes. And the thing that I'm really interested in, and I really like, I'm a big fan of the TV show Ghosts. And so they're not going to do new episodes of Ghosts this fall, and they're not going to show repeats of Ghosts this fall. They're going to bring you the British version that it's based on so that you can watch that in the fall leading up to hopefully bringing back the show that we know here in America in January.
Interesting. Everybody's scrambling, and it seems like there's a different playbook. People have different playbooks on how they get through this.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it just depends on what do you have. Peacock, I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised that NBC hasn't looked at Peacock and said, let's put Poker Face on network television. Disney Plus, you're going to see the Ms. Marvel show that played on Disney Plus last summer. They're going to bring that to the ABC network in the fall, and frankly, in a way to probably promote the movies, the Marvel movie that's coming out, Captain Marvel movie that's coming out later in the year, if they still do that.
Interesting. I have a note here, Willie. Before we run out of time, I need to ask you about Barbie.
Oh, dear God, yes, Barbie. Barbie is the ultimate payback movie, okay? I went to see Barbie last night.
Payback to who?
Well, this is payback. All the husbands and boyfriends were there with their girlfriends and wives, and it was like, yeah, I know, I made you go see that movie. I'll go see Barbie with you. And that was like the whole theater last night.
Yeah.
But it's an okay movie. I mean, it's kind of a surrealistic movie. It's not really made for kids. Like, if you think it's going to be like a kid-based movie about the toy, forget about it. That's not what it is. It's a little bit deeper than that. We meet up with Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, in Barbie land where everything is perfect and everything is wonderful, and they think that they've solved all the problems of the real world because they think that Barbie has inspired the real world to be like Barbie land. But Barbie, our Barbie, starts to kind of feel weird, kind of depressed. She's thinking about death and bad things. And that's when we learn that every Barbie is connected to the little girl who has her in the real world. And Barbie realizes she has to go to the real world and help the little girl who's filling her with all these thoughts.
How do you like it?
It's okay. I mean, listen, there's a lot of funny stuff about, Barbie in the real world, not understanding what the real world is all about, being shocked at what a horrible place it really can be. That can be very funny. Ryan Gosling as Ken almost steals the movie, because he's going along for the ride. He's got to support Barbie because he's got it bad for her. And when he gets to the real world, he starts to kind of like the male-dominated world. It's a little different for him, and that goes off in a whole crazy place. So that can be kind of funny. I just think that eventually it becomes I don't want to say political, but it becomes a big discussion over women's roles in the world and how they're viewed and what was Barbie's impact on that. And it's interesting, but it's not I don't think it's as interesting and as fun as the fish out of water story. I'm going to say 2.5 waffles for Barbie.
Yeah, that's not bad. 2.5's not bad.
Yeah.
Willie, thank you so much for joining us today. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but 2.5 waffles for Barbie. And, of course, Willie's keeping us updated on the strike that's going on and what it means for fall programming and what it means for our entertainment options here in front of the screen. Willie, thanks so much. I hope you have a great weekend, man.
Got it. I'll talk to you next week about the Haunted Mansion.
All right. That's coming up next weekend. See, now that sounds like something. My son's into the spooky, scary stuff. Haunted Mansion, at least by name, sounds like something he would be interested in watching. WIBX News Time, 7 o'clock. It is WIBX 950 Utica, Rome. Here's an update from Fox.
The most corrupt family to ever live in the White House? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Congressman Jim Banks tweeted, joining other Republicans calling for President Biden to be impeached after GOP Senator Chuck Grassley released an FBI document containing unverified allegations from Ukraine dating back to when Joe Biden was vice president and his son Hunter was on the board of a gas company.
That stunning FBI informant file is detailing the Bidens' alleged coercion of Burisma's CEO in exchange for their help in getting the Ukrainian prosecutor investigating the company fired.
According to the FBI source making the allegations, the CEO had said
it cost $5 million to pay one Biden and $5 million to another Biden. The document also claims the Burisma executive, quote, didn't want to pay the Bidens and he was pushed to pay them. He has many text messages and recordings that show he was coerced to make payments.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. Now, President Biden has said there was an international pushback then to fire that prosecutor for corruption. And Democrats say that CEO had later denied allegations in the document that the White House says have been debunked for years. Russia's leaders claiming Polish and Lithuanian fighters will be sent to help Ukraine, as Vladimir Putin also touts that Ukraine's lost tens of thousands of soldiers in the war, though Russia has too. This says the cluster bombs the U.S. sent Ukraine over the objections in some of our NATO allies are now being used.
They're being used appropriately and effectively, says National Security spokesman John Kirby. More than 100 countries have banned the weapons because of their threat to civilians, but Ukraine's promised to only use them against concentrations of Russian soldiers.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. There's been yet another hack, this time at a high level.
Fox News confirms email accounts for the U.S. Ambassador to China, Nicholas Burns, as well as Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, Daniel Crittenbrink, were both hacked.
Fox's Jill Nato. The hack's apparently limited to unclassified email accounts. America's listening to Fox News.
When America's debt bubble bursts, it could destroy the value of your 401k or IRA. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend gold IRAs. And Birch Gold Group is the only gold IRA company I trust. Right now, you can get a free info kit on gold when you text the word PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to 989898 to request your no-cost, no-obligation info kit today.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
We have cloudy skies and 66 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:03. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. Slight chance of a rain shower this morning, but today will be pretty nice. A closer look at what we can expect this afternoon in just a few minutes. Governor Kathy Hochul and U.S. Senator Charles Schumer will both be in Syracuse today as they're hosting a groundbreaking event for the I-81 project. The project has been highlighted by President Joe Biden as a signature example of his bipartisan infrastructure act. The project has been going on for 15 years, has been slowed, though, by studies and multiple lawsuits. 2 adults under arrest in the Syracuse area after police say they discovered a dog had died from starvation. Genesis Evans, who's 22, and Oceana Thomas, a 19-year-old, face felony and misdemeanor charges of cruelty to an animal. Police had responded to an incident earlier this year, a burglary complaint, where they were directed to a dog inside of a cage. Turned out that dog was dead, and medical results later determined that the dog did die from starvation. The offshore wind power project at the Port of Albany will be the first of its kind in the United States. Officials say construction is underway, where upgrades will be made and where foundation is being laid for a new manufacturing facility to support the offshore wind power. The new facility will have the strongest structural capacity in the U.S. It's expected to hold up to 6,000 pounds per square foot. The project is expected to cost between $600 and $700 million, but there is about a $400 million funding gap at this time. And the Arena Football League remains a possibility for the Albany area. MVP Arena General Manager Bob Belber says one ownership group has emerged as a frontrunner and has been in talks with the AFL. The potential hangup is the annual workers' compensation premium of $1.5 million for arena football teams in New York State. Officials say that's 15,000% higher than it typically would be for other businesses or even other arena football teams in other states. The AFL announced their first 16 teams earlier this week, with more expected to be revealed soon. WIBX News Time is 7:06. Again, slight chance of a rain shower this morning, but the rest of the day not looking too bad. We get full details from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, not as warm. Couple scattered showers, a few gusty thunderstorms. Breezy afternoon, turning less humid late. High 77. Tonight, partly cloudy, mild, turning less humid, near 60. Tomorrow, breezy at times, isolated showers early, then partly to mostly sunny in the afternoon and evening. High 76. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Cloudy skies, 66 degrees at 7:06. All right, in sports, the Mets unable to complete a sweep last night of the Chicago White Sox. Chicago wins a final of 6-2. Jose Quintana made his debut for the Mets. Unfortunately, he was saddled with the loss allowing 2 runs on 6 hits over 5 innings. Omar Narvaez hit his first home run as a Met. And the Mets are back in action tonight when they open a 3-game series against the Red Sox at Fenway Park. The Yankees hoping to snap their recent slide. They've dropped 4 straight and 9 of their last 11. The Yankees find themselves in the basement in the American League East, a record of 50-47. Tonight they open up a series against the Kansas City Royals at Yankee Stadium. Meanwhile, the Orioles are now all alone atop the AL East after they beat the Rays last night 4-3 in 10 innings. Colton Cowser plated the winning run on a sac fly in the 10th. Adley Rutschman and Ryan O'Hearn also plated runs for the O's, who are now 5-2 since the All-Star break. They're 1 game up on the Rays for first place in the American League East. 3-way tie atop the leaderboard, including Tommy Fleetwood at the Open Championship in England. The NASCAR Cup Series field rolls into the Poconos this weekend with the HighPoint.com 400. Martin Truex Jr. is going for back-to-back wins after he took the checkered flag at the Crayon 301 from Loudon. The driver of the number 19 car dominated that race, leading for over 80% of the contest. Of course, a big weekend in Cooperstown coming up this weekend. It's the Baseball Hall of Fame. Scott Rowland and the Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, both being inducted into Cooperstown. Let's see. The 2-time defending FIFA Women's World Cup champions set to begin their defense tonight. Team USA will take on Vietnam in their World Cup group stage opener at Eden Park in New Zealand. It'll be the first time that the U.S. women's national team has gone head-to-head against Vietnam. The U.S. will also face off against Portugal and the Netherlands in group play. The U.S. is in Group E. Team USA is going for its 3rd straight Women's World Cup title. And am I forgetting something? Smitty, am I forgetting something?
No.
A pair of Cincinnati Bengals are being inducted into their Ring of Honor. Boomer Esiason and Chad Johnson. That'll be coming up later in the 2024 season. WIBX News Time 7:09. We'll talk about some fun things coming up. You got the Taste of Lebanon this weekend. We're going to talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And then next week, it's the Boonville Oneida County Fair. Some interesting stories and some history on that coming up. It is First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
The Wynn Hospital. Unwavering commitment and compassion. State-of-the-art technology and techniques. Advanced expertise and innovation. Consistent safety and quality. And it all will be exactly where you need it, because this fall, the brand new state-of-the-art Wynn Hospital will open in downtown Utica. Soon, you will be able to experience local care on a whole new level. The Wynn Hospital. World-class care is right around the corner. This is for you. At MVHS, our team members fell in love with care long ago. Their lives were changed, and their world has been expanding ever since. In respect, compassion, knowledge, and ability. And it's only just begun. Because fueling the future of care starts here at the Wynn Hospital. The Wynn Hospital, opening in October 2023. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you.
The Utica Stampede and Rodeo and Expo comes back to the Adirondack Bank Center August 4th and 5th. 2 days of rodeo fun with 8 different events with over 30 of the best bull riders in the Northeast competing for large cash prizes. Get your tickets now at EmpireStateTix.com, in person at the Adirondack Bank Center box office, or over the phone by calling 315-790-9070. It's the Utica Stampede and Rodeo, presented by Don Ford Clinton Tractor, and best enjoyed with Coors Banquet, the official beer of the rodeo.
Go green and save green right now at City Suburban. There has never been a better way to heat and cool your home than with a new Mitsubishi electric heat pump system from City Suburban. They provide energy-efficient comfort year-round, are whisper quiet, 40% more efficient than conventional systems, and offer room-by-room temperature control. And the best part is right now you can save up to $9,000 in rebates with the New York State Clean Heat Program while funds are available. Go green and make the switch today. And as always, receive City Suburban's POMG. That's peace of mind guarantee.
This is Chris from City Suburban on Route 233 in Westmoreland. There has never been a better time to upgrade your system than right now. You can save up to $9,000 with New York State clean heat rebates and make your home more comfortable and efficient for years to come. Call us today at 853-3899. That's 853-3899. Or visit us at citysuburban.com.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Solving mysteries is hard. Streaming them isn't. We need to know what happened.
There's someone else pulling the strings here.
This month, get in touch with your inner detective and stream the best selection of British mysteries during Mystery Month on BritBox.
That is interesting.
Watch entire series of fan favourites, including the newest seasons of Luther, Silent Witness, Father Brown, Vera, and more.
My lips are sealed.
No one does mystery like the Brits. Start streaming now with a free trial at BritBox.com.
Are you a registered nurse with a passion for making a difference in the lives of others? Do you have a desire to work in a supportive and compassionate environment? If so, hospice and palliative care may be the perfect opportunity for you. We're currently seeking a registered nurse to join our team. As a hospice registered nurse, you'll have the opportunity to provide one-on-one nursing care and emotional support to patients and their families during a difficult time in their lives. You'll develop and implement care plans to meet the needs of your patients and to ensure that they receive the highest quality of care possible. At Hospice and Palliative Care, we believe that everyone deserves compassionate and dignified end-of-life care. If you share the same commitment to excellence and are looking for a fulfilling career working Monday through Friday in hospice care, we would love to hear from you. To learn more about this opportunity, please visit hospicecareinc.org. That's hospicecareinc.org. Or call us today. Thank you for considering hospice as your next career destination.
The Rome Capitol Theater presents Drive-In Double Feature Night. Tonight at 7. Projected on 35mm film. Curse of the Demon and It, the Terror from Beyond Space. Plus vintage drive-in trailers, coming attractions, and drive-in style food and concessions. It's the Drive-In Double Feature experience inside the Capitol Theater. Tonight at 7. For more information, visit RomeCapitol.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, a Friday morning. It is 7:15. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX 950 AM 106.9 FM. The YouTube feed is up this morning, and we'll have a couple of guests coming in studio. Next hour, we'll talk with Paul Buckley. If you ever wanted to be in a movie, be in an extra, be in the background, maybe you have a property that you think would be a good setting for a movie, although typically they're looking for what they're looking for. There's a bunch of big news coming up, and there's going to be some movies shot locally. At least they're scouting the area out. So we'll talk with Buckley about that next hour. We'll also talk with Craig Muter later this hour about the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and we'll talk with Carl Trainer coming up here in just a few minutes about the Boonville Oneida County Fair next week. Plus, Taste of Lebanon is going on this weekend. What am I forgetting, Smitty? Let's see here. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. That was Smitty there slamming the doors. He's running to get our next guest as the phone is ringing as well. Good morning, Keeler Show. Hi, good morning. Okay. All right, 315-736-0186. You can call or make a comment, and I'll flip over here. There we go. Hey, Carl, how you doing? You can come right on in. And Smitty, hop on the mic down there. You can grab that mic right over there, that chair right over there. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Jeff. It's nice to meet you, too. Yep. Smitty, so you were telling me about Cooperstown and some signing events that are going on this weekend.
Yeah, it's the Sandlot, what we talked about.
Yeah, and you called him the Squincher.
Squints.
Is that his name? Squints, because he squints all the time.
Yeah, Squints.
All right. He's the one who threw himself in the pool, right?
No, he's the one that was looking at the lifeguard.
And then he has her resuscitate him, right? Yeah, exactly.
And then Patrick Renna, who is it played the catcher Ham, he's the one that yelled, "Cannonball!"
Okay. They're going to be in Cooperstown for signings this weekend. Do you have a price guide there?
Yeah, $99 for one, $45 for the other.
Okay, look, that was a great movie. I think that's outrageous. There's Hall of Famers you can get for less money than $99.
Yes, there is. Some of them. I saw a guide price last night. Guess how much for Pedro Martinez, Jeff?
Well, $120.
Right.
$120. Now, you told me that yesterday. You must have forgot you told me that. But for $20 more, you can get Pedro Martinez. Get the Pedro Martinez.
John Smoltz was $70 last year. Guess how much he is this year?
100?
90.
Again, still less than that actor. I don't know. That's interesting. Anyway, a lot going on in Cooperstown this weekend. A lot going on in Boonville next week. We welcome in Carl Trainer. He's with us this morning for a little history on the Boonville Oneida County Fair. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Oh, hang on. You're on 3. There we go. That's my fault. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. I'm thankful to be well and to be here out of our North Country, and it's a mild morning. July is the height of summer, and it brings fair season to north central New York. So we're all anticipating next week. Any town, city, or village that has a county fair in it or a town fair, they're lucky, because it's an annual event that's often the premier week of the town. And in Boonville, we're extremely lucky to have the great fairgrounds that we have and we've had through the years, and it garnered us the New York State Woodsman's Field Days, which is in August, the middle weekend in August, which is also a premier event for all over the Northeast. It's the largest of its kind in the country. And then in the winter, when we're all shivering and freezing in the North Country, and you know, they say in Boonville, if it goes up to 0, we open the window and put the fan on. And we don't have winter like we used to. But in usually late January, early February, we have the Snow Festival, which is a great weekend for the snowmobilers, for the racers, and so on. So the fairgrounds, if a town has a fairgrounds and a railroad, they're well off.
That's good. Tell us a little bit about, first, yourself, because people describe you to me as the foremost historian on the Boonville Oneida County Fair and a lot of things that go on up in the North Country.
Well, that might be so. I'm 66 years old, lifelong resident of Boonville, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I was blessed and fortunate to grow up just down the street from the fairgrounds. I've always liked railroading and trains and vintage trucks and the American Carnival. I'm somewhat of a carnival historian. I have a large model of the Boonville Fair, which will be on display in the exhibit hall again this year, and my carnival dates from the 50s and 60s era. But so I go back to the fair. My earliest memory of the fair is my big memory of the fair started when I was 5 years old and I had strep throat at the beginning of the fair. Never made it to the fair until Friday, but I got to see the carnival move in, and I've been fascinated with it ever since. And we used to go, the fair was the big thing, and we went to the fair every afternoon and every evening, looked at all the exhibits. Our mother made sure that we went to the fair, and that was the big week, and that interest has continued. And with my sister, she has been president of the New York State Fair Association and also active in the Boonville Fair, as have I. So it's been a great summertime tradition, but for people that are interested in county fairs and so on like that, it's a year-round thing. I remember one time my father said, well, this fair business never seems to end, when it was in the middle of a blizzard and we were talking about the fair. So the fair in Boonville, actually, And if I might say, this radio station, WIBX, was also a big part of my growing up. We had our WBRV in Boonville, W Black River Valley. That's what the call letters stand for. And interestingly, down the road in Schenectady is WGY, Wireless General, and the Y was the last letter in Schenectady, the city that lights and hauls the world. What does WIBX stand for?
I don't think it's for letters that symbol. Like, I'm trying to think of another example. RNY, Rome, New York, right? I don't believe IBX is broken down that way.
Right. Well, not to promote other radio stations on your program, but WIBX was always listened to when I was growing up in our house. And Ed Sluzarczyk in the morning, as was Deacon Doubleday, was on WSYR in Syracuse in his wired woodshed. But the farm show on WIBX was very interesting. I grew up acquiring a great interest and love for Ukrainian music because of the Ukrainian hour that was on WIBX. When we were supposed to be in bed at night and asleep, I had my radio tuned in to the Comets or the hockey games I don't think it was called the Comets then, though, in Clinton. It was broadcast live on WIBX. Very, very interesting. And then at supper time, everyone had to be quiet because my father had to hear the stock report with the ticker tape going on WIBX. So it's been a great station for generations here.
Well, thank you very much. We're preparing to celebrate our 100th anniversary, which will be in the year 25. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Thank you for being, and your family for being a listener to WIBX over the years. A lot of great programming, and personalities have come out of this radio station. Smitty, I saw you in there shaking your head. Did you want to add anything? The different programs that you ran down. I saw Smitty's face lighting up, and he was nodding as you were rattling off some of the old shows and the old hosts to the programs. So speaking of hosts, I want to talk to you about Boonville hosting the Oneida County Fair.
Sure.
And it's moved around. Give us a little history, when it started, where it started, and how we got up to Boonville and why it's still there today.
Well, some things change, and a lot of things, though, stay the same. In Boonville, the railroad came to Boonville in 1855. Boonville was a bustling town. The railroad made it bustle even more. And there was the younger people there today, and when I was growing up and when you were growing up, maybe we raised hell once in a while with our cars.
Okay.
Running the roads and one thing and another like that. Well, in that era in Boonville, the young people, the young men especially, used to race their horses and buggies up and down the main streets and create havoc. And the village fathers decided to build a track so that the young people could raise the devil with their buggies and horses and whatever on the track. And they acquired some land where the fairgrounds is now in Boonville and built a track. And that was in 1874. And so nothing about a fair was documented until 1888 was the first Boonville Fair. Boonville was an agricultural powerhouse. And the farming community in Boonville was very strong. There's a district near Boonville called Potato Hill, and it had a large Polish population on Potato Hill, people that came out of the coal mines in Pennsylvania on the idea of purchasing land, which they did. The land was awfully stony, and I've heard that that's one reason why it was Potato Hill, but that they grew potatoes up there, but they were very, very hardworking farmers, industrious people. So Boonville, at one time, I believe Boonville had 60 dairy farms in the town of Boonville, which is kind of like all of upstate and central New York used to be that way. So the farmers got together. The farm life was... Back then it was hard, just like it's hard today. It's a work every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. But after the crops were in and so on, the farmers would get together and bring their cows, bring their harvest, and that's how county fairs came to be. Lewis County Fair in Lowville, which is on right now, was founded in 1820, and that had different locations around Lewis County. The Malone Fair was going in the 1850s. Jefferson County Fair, which ended Sunday night, proclaims itself to be the oldest continuously running county fair in the country.
Holy cow.
So by 1888, the Boonville people, the Boonville farmers, the Boonville movers and shakers, as they would call people, of leadership, had certainly had ideas from other communities about their fair. And so more land was purchased, the racetrack was redesigned, grandstand was built, exhibit building was built, and the Boonville Fair started. And it was the Boonville Fair. And interestingly, in the late 20s, the fairgrounds was expanded. The grandstand, which is the same grandstand that we have today, but it used to face west, and the fair was held in early September. People would pack the grandstand in the afternoon for the horse races. Horse racing used to be a huge part of any county or town fair. It still is in Boonville. We're on the circuit of county fairs, and we're a training track for the bigger races. So, but the sunshine, the sunny days, if there were sunny days during the fair, would blind people and roast them while they were sitting in the grandstand. So the fairgrounds was expanded, the grandstand was moved, and a lot of money was put into the fair, and then the Depression hit in the early 30s, and the fair sold off some land. And if it hadn't been for the frugal nature of the farming community, I think the fair would have ended in the Depression. Many county fairs did go out of business during that era. I believe the first, and I don't know if it was officially the county fair or not, but there was quite a prosperous fair in Vernon, and that did not survive the Depression. Then there was a prosperous fair in Rome associated with the Rome racetrack, and around, I think it was off Floyd Ave in Rome. I'm sure some of the listeners would know more about this than I do.
Sure.
And that also went out of business. So the Boonville Fair, largely because of the agricultural committee, our community, and our small town nature, and the fair had always had support. It drew big crowds from the Boonville area, and as auto travel grew, the people came from further away, survived, and then went on to become the official Oneida County Fair in probably the early 70s is when we became the official Oneida County Fair. And the county officials from Mr. Pisani on down have been through the years very supportive of the fair.
So can you talk about what happened before the 70s? Was there an Oneida County Fair that was separate from the Boonville Fair?
Not that I know of. I think that after the Rome Fair ceased to operate, the Boonville Fair was the only fair in the county.
Okay.
And so then we became the Boonville Oneida County Fair, the official county fair for Boonville. And people have said to me, well, you're the county fair, but we can go up. If we go upstairs and look to the north, we can see Lewis County. That's how close we are to the county line. But we were the last man standing and continue to be, and so that's how we achieved the status of being the county fair.
We're talking with Carl Trainer this morning. He's given us a bit of a history on the Boonville Fair and now the Boonville Oneida County Fair. Everything kicks off, the talent show is Monday next week?
That's on Monday, and then opening day is Tuesday morning. That is our opening day, and I believe it's the Children's Day, the first of the Children's Day. I believe I meant to grab a program this morning.
Oh, you know what? Here you go.
Oh, good.
Here you go.
Thank
right
you.
Here. Joe
Thank
Load
you.
is handing them out to everybody because he's performing in the in the
Hofbrau.
In the Hofbrau, exactly.
Right,
Thank you.
Right. So every day
he's signing copies too. I think he's doing a signing tonight of the programs.
The first day, opening day at 11 o'clock, there's a New York State Sire Stakes harness racing at the grandstand, and that races, weather permitting, will go on throughout the day. And there's several fairs on the harness racing circuit. We're one of them, Governor, Malone, I believe Norwich used to be, Afton, which is down also in Shenango County. They're scattered all over the state that are for fairs that are for horse racing. And then the other highlight of the opening day will be the Fireman's Parade, which has the theme of Christmas in July on the farm, and that starts in Boonville and goes up through the center of town on Main Street and to Ford Street and then to the fairgrounds and in front of the grandstand. And following that, will be fireworks at dusk. And so then Wednesday and every day of the week, there's free shows from the Family Globe of Death and Dialed Action Sports Bicycle Stunt Show. Those are performed every day throughout the fair, as well as the carnival. As our Coleman brothers, they've been to the Boonville Fair since 1950. They have an interesting history, as does the carnival business.
Well, let's pause just for a second here, and we'll pick it up there with the Coleman brothers. We've got our man Joe Load on the line. Joe, you're doing an autograph session tonight where people can get an autographed copy of the program for the fair, right?
That's great. Listen,
you're happy to be DJing.
There's an interesting story about the Coleman brothers actually saving the Boonville Fair one year. And this is all stemming from singer-songwriter Lori Morgan, I believe, that caused this debacle. She was supposed to perform at the fair. There's a storm that came through, and after the storm, she refused to go on stage, but her contract said that you had to pay her no matter what.
That's right.
And so Coleman Brothers stepped up and actually saved the fair by giving them a no-interest loan, I think.
You're right. That was a very memorable evening at the fair, and not a good one either. That thunderstorm came out of the southwest. It's unusual for us to get a thunderstorm out of the southwest. It moved over the Boonville Fair as if it had devilish intent, which it did, and it hung there for nigh unto 2 hours, and the lightning was terrible. The buildings in the Boonville area were struck by lightning. The rain was incredible. 8 miles away, the Constableville Field Days are always the same that weekend. They have been for forever. Great field day and social event. One thing that made the fairs be so successful, and successful right today, whenever the fair is in a given community, that's the big reunion for that community. People come back home. People come from all over to go to the fair. You see friends. You have food on a nice summer afternoon or evening. It's a great, unique entertainment and piece of Americana. But back to the Lori Morgan show, that was an incredible thunderstorm. But in Constableville, where the field days were going on, they heard it thunder, but they did not get a single drop of rain 8 miles away. It was right over Boonville. So finally the lightning subsided and went away entirely, and she did refuse to perform, and we did not have any type of insurance, where rain insurance is very, very, it's cost prohibitive, and it has to rain at a certain time, and it has to rain in a certain place and over a certain amount of square miles, and I think there's even, it has to rain hard enough, and so on and so forth. So Mr. Coleman, in the spirit of his father, who founded his carnival in 1916, stepped up to the plate, and we were able to pay Lori Morgan. We were able to give the people their money back that wanted it, that did not get to see the show, and the fair was able to go on. And that was a very, very bad night for the fair. A hallmark of the Coleman Brothers Carnival, founded in 1916 in Middletown, Connecticut, has always been generosity to the people, to the years ago, every week that the carnival was on the road, Mr. Coleman would contact that. This was in a different era. There were hospitals, there were orphanages, and he would arrange for buses, and they would bring children to the fair. Or before the fair season, the carnivals played really fields in around big towns and big cities. Utica, any blue-collar community, was on the carnival's radar. Utica was a good carnival town because there was so much industry here. O.C. Buck used to set up in Utica just on a lot, and so did James E. Straits. Straits they moved by railroad. They had an office in downtown Utica. So on a certain day, Mr. Coleman would bus the underprivileged, the ill, the orphans to his carnival. The carnival would open in the afternoon free of charge, and for those people. And that's been a hallmark of the Coleman family.
So we're talking this morning with Carl Trainer, a little history and a preview of the Boonville Oneida County Fair. Joe, before we let you go, any other thoughts? Anything else?
Well, I can't wait. One of the things that I always look forward to are corn dogs, but the Horns Family Farm in Remsen, they do what's called a jerk burger wrap, and it's delicious. And if you get to the fair, you got to try it.
All right.
Jerk burger wrap from the Horns Family Farm in Remsen.
I'll be bringing my my little guy up there a couple times next week, so I'll definitely see you up there. We'll all get a corn dog.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
All right, you too. That is Joe Lode, who is when is he DJing at the?
I'm very poor. I'm good on history and good on the carnival and so on, but I'm poor on who's, where, and when at the fair.
So you know what? We can double check that. I'll double check that. I'll give
Joe Lode is
there you go.
On Wednesday, July 26th from 8 to 11 in the Hofbrau.
In the Hofbrau.
Right.
All right, so we're going to pause this conversation on the Boonville Oneida County Fair. We'll pick it up in just a minute. He's only got a couple minutes this morning, so I want to get to him because he's gearing up for a lot of people coming to town, and that is Craig Muter from the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown. Good morning, Craig. How are you?
Yeah, always good to hear from you.
So you're gearing up. It's when does everything kick off for the induction weekend?
So really, things get started this morning with our Turn 2 event with Ozzie Smith, where we have folks who are able to, they come down here. It's a museum fundraiser, and they turn some double plays with Ozzie, and this year he's got Larry Walker and Dave Winfield and Eddie Murray with them. So that's a really cool event to start the weekend. And it looks like we're going to luck out with weather. We thought maybe we were going to get some rain this morning, but it is a beautiful sunny morning in Cooperstown here. And then tomorrow is when things really start getting rolling. With the awards presentation at 3 p.m., which you can watch on the big screen at Doubleday Field for free. And then the Parade of Legends, which is a big Saturday highlight now, where all the returning Hall of Famers, and there's more than 4 dozen this year, will parade down Main Street in vehicles. And we've already got folks lining up. People were putting their chairs out for the parade yesterday. It just keeps getting bigger every year. And this is going to be another big one with Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland heading up the class of 2023. And then induction on Sunday, 1:30 at the Clark Sports Center. And if you've never been, it really is where your baseball cards come to life. There's nothing like seeing all the Hall of Famers on the stage at the Clark Sports Center. And it's free. It's totally free. You come down, you bring a lawn chair, you bring a blanket, you sit in the field, and you enjoy baseball at its finest.
Yeah, there's been some legendary speeches there too, right? I mean, I don't want to say every year's a legendary speech, but I mean, there have been some all-time classics, whether it's a joke that somebody tells, it's Euchre up there saying something, or some guys really fondly remembering their playing days and what the game of baseball means to them.
Absolutely. I've never seen an electee not get emotional on stage one way or the other. And it really is because they look back and they see their careers and they see what it all came to this moment. When you think about that, that's a rare thing in a person's life where you can sit there at one moment and say, this is what it all led to. And they can, when they see that bronze plaque, they see their likeness, they see those 90 words on that plaque. They know that they have made it.
Absolutely. A bunch of stuff going on in Cooperstown this weekend. Where can we send listeners to get the full schedule that they can, take a glance at it online?
right on the homepage, baseballhall.org, and then you go to the Hall of Fame weekend tab. It'll tell you all the schedule, all the things that are happening, all the Hall of Famers that are coming back. So, you want to see Derek Jeter, you want to see Mike Mussina, you want to see David Ortiz. They are right here in Cooperstown this weekend. Come and enjoy it. It really is. It's a special time here, and it's a gem here in Central New York.
Baseballhall.org is where you can get the schedule. I know you're busy. Thanks for giving us a few minutes. Craig Muter with the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York. Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take care. It's a very busy weekend. A lot of people flocking to Cooperstown for the induction this weekend. Smitty, you're going to be down there.
Yes, Jeff. Yes.
What are you going for again?
Just to meet the Sandlot guys and get some autographs.
All right. Well, listen, spend that $100 on a player, on a Hall of Fame player. $100 for an actor's autograph. I don't get it.
I've done that $100 before.
For an actor?
No,
for a baseball player, right? For a Hall of Famer? Yeah. Who was it?
I met quite a few. I got White Boggs.
There you go. That's a great one right there for $100 or less. John Smoltz, $90. This actor who I couldn't pick out of a lineup is $99. Okay. 742. And again, that's a separate event from what the Baseball Hall of Fame is doing. It's just a lot of people go down there and will charge money for autograph signings and things like that. In my opinion, it's worth it when you're getting a former ball player or a Hall of Fame player. But some people get a little carried away. But anyway, it's a great weekend. And as Craig said, looking like the weather will cooperate with them this weekend. So that's always a good thing. More information online at baseballhall.org. All right, we'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we're joined by Carl Trainer in studio. We've been talking about the history of the Boonville Oneida County Fair, what the fair's purpose was when it first launched, what the focus was at the fairs, and kind of what we see today. We'll blend all that together and give you a preview of the big event going on next week in northern Oneida County. Plus, your free money question of the day is coming up. Stay tuned. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractor, we are pleased to partner with Alfred State University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Alfred State is proud to strengthen our long history of working with unions to create non-traditional pathways for career advances in the skilled trades.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Are you in the market for a vehicle that's like new but don't want to break the bank? Look no further than GM certified pre-owned vehicles at Steed Pawnee Chevrolet. With rates as low as 4.9% for 60 months on GM certified vehicles, you can find new roads without the high price tag. Check out the 2022 Chevy Trailblazer LT all-wheel drive with only 36,000 miles, or the 2022 GMC Arcadia all-wheel drive SLE with only 15,000 miles. With a 6-year and 100,000-mile powertrain, limited warranty on all, and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty, you can drive with confidence knowing your vehicle is covered. Visit us online anytime at SteedPawneeChevy.com to browse our complete inventory. Steed Pawnee Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Pawnee Chevrolet, your family-owned and operated dealership. Customer must qualify top tier through GM Financial. All taxes and fees due on delivery must take delivery by July 31st, 2023.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, we are back here. It is 7:45. First News Keeler in the morning. Programming note, Bill is back with us live in studio, I promise, on Monday morning. So we're looking forward to that. Joined in studio this morning by Carl Trainer, and he's giving us a little history on the Boonville Fair and a preview on next week's Boonville Oneida County Fair. So we're talking during the break. Megan, our new brand manager here at the station, came in, and she's from Connecticut. And you guys were talking a little history of the fair. And I said, hang on, I want to save this for on the air. So we're going to get into the circus train stopping in Utica. I actually think they got off at City Hall downtown, and I think some of them still might be there. We're going to talk about the 1893 World's Fair. We'll get into that and a lot of great stories. This is little snippets of history with a little color to them. They're very interesting. You were talking about how one of the Coleman brothers first bought, I want to say the merry-go-round, but what was it?
Right, it was a merry-go-round.
A merry-go-round, yeah.
Right. That's how they started in the carnival business. And the merry-go-round has a very interesting history going all the way back to the Roman Empire. And then,
really?
Yes. And then expanding from there, they would pretend to be sparring one another with spears or whatever on horses and going around in a circle in like in kind of an arena type of business, type of an affair. And it was for military training. There was no fun and games about it. And then it evolved into horses hung on a pole, and the pole would turn. And then it evolved in Europe, in Germany, I believe, and it was called a carousel, and that was more ornate. And it was still in Europe. The fairs really trace themselves all the way back to the Old Testament, where the ancient Israelites had many festivals, many feasts. Some of them were sad affairs or recalling unhappy parts of their history, but one of the most prominent feasts in biblical times in the Old Testament was the Feast of Booths. And it was very much like a county fair, like in Boonville or anywhere around. And the people in the agricultural areas, the Israelites would bring their produce, their crops. It was in harvest season, and they'd bring them in and put them in tents. And I'm sure there was food, and I'm sure because food, you were mentioning horns business and cheeseburgers, hamburgers, whatever. They're right from Remsen, right in Oneida County. They're on our independent midway at the fair, which has a lot of food vendors. Food has become an incredible part of the fair business and the carnival business. A lot of people go to the fair simply to eat and to socialize. It's a huge social event. But getting back to the merry-go-round, then in the medieval era, there were street fairs in Europe, and they were very popular. And finally, someone got the idea to make the merry-go-round into an amusement ride. And that came to this country, and a gentleman by the name of Alan Herschel from North Tonawanda manufactured merry-go-rounds, music boxes, mechanical organs that you'd hear at a skating rink en masse in this country. And the Alan Herschel Company, for many years, they were makers of Ferris wheels, the helicopter ride, kiddie rides, and especially the merry-go-round. And Mr. Coleman's, I don't know much about the history of his first merry-go-round. I believe that they had a mechanical organ in it, and that got to be nearly 100 years old before it finally wore out. Wow. So his carnival, and he set it up in 1916. That merry-go-round, it was steam powered, and there was no electricity then for carnival rides or even gas motors. So that was steam powered. He set it up under a bridge in Portland, Connecticut, and offered rides for a nickel apiece. And that was the beginning of his carnival, which grew over the years to become a major carnival in the Northeast.
Incredible. Again, we're joined in studio by Carl Trainer, getting a little history on county fairs, local fairs, town fairs, and then a preview of the Boonville Oneida County Fair coming up next week. All right, a couple of things that you mentioned that I wanted you to go back and tell the story on. The circus train. What was the circus train? And it stopped in Utica. Well, and that was how the settlement began in Utica, right? I'm teasing. Go ahead.
It's Utica is a great town.
Yes,
and when
it is.
I was growing up, we didn't go out of Boonville very much. My grandfather founded our funeral home business in 1906, and I'm the owner and operator of it today. And that business can be confining. And we went to Utica about twice a year to buy fall and spring.
It's a big deal to go to the city, right?
We'd get up early in the morning and rattle down Route 12, the concrete road, to Utica. And
Sure.
I was just absolutely loved Utica, and I still do. And in the Boilermaker, Utica is a great city, and I think it's having a renaissance.
Yes.
But it's always been a great town. And so to mistake a carnival for a circus or a circus for a carnival is a cardinal sin in the carnival business or the circus business. But there's many similarities. And Ringling Brothers was the circus. And again, Utica, any town that had an industrial base in it, and Utica was an industrial powerhouse, was on the carnival radar and on the circus radar. That is a town that we want to set up in. And so for many years, Ringling Brothers would usually come to Utica in June, and they set up on Wers Ave. And oftentimes sometimes they would play Herkimer, sometimes they would play Rome. The same with the carnivals that came to this area, because Herkimer, for many years, Coleman Brothers used to set up in Herkimer, and they'd tear down there on a Saturday night and move to Boonville, was the next stop after Herkimer. Herkimer was a sand lot by the thruway. But so Utica was a prominent stop for the Ringling Brothers Circus. That Ringling Brothers was so large of an organization, they traveled on 5 trains. The first train was always called the Flying Squadron. When you went to the circus, you bought your tickets, you might go to the sideshow, you might play a few games. The circus had a little midway. They didn't have rides. They might have other shows. You went to the menagerie. That was a big thing. You had to have a cup of orange aid that Ringling Brothers were famous for. What it was water, and who knows really where the water might have come from. And it had some big blocks of ice in this big tub, and they would dip the orange aid out of it. They really were famous for their orange aid, and it had plastic oranges floating in it. We don't know when they were last washed from town to town to town.
Oh, goodness.
And the water was orange in color. It was cold, and it had a little bit of orange flavoring in it.
Okay.
But they're orange. So you'd have to have an orange aid, and then you would go into the big top after you enjoyed the midway. Well, in the evening performance, when the evening performance began, the midway, the sideshow, the menagerie, the orange aid, other food stands, the ticket wagons and whatever, they were all torn down and loaded onto the train. And so when people would come out of the big top at the end of the performance, oftentimes they became disoriented. Because all of that was gone. And people used to think, well, I'll enjoy the midway on my way out. Well, you won't, because it would be already going down the railroad tracks to the next town. So
Wow.
they call that section the Flying Squadron. And it was the first of the 5 trains that would go through the night to the next location. So there was a man from New Hartford by the name of Robert Morgan, one of the nicest people that ever walked the face of the earth. And he worked for the New York Central his entire railroading career. And he was a renowned railroad engineer. In the early days on the railroad, and I believe this is still true, and this story probably took place in the 40s after World War II, when the Ringling Brothers was at its zenith, and so was the railroad too. So, but when you first went on the railroad, you had to go on the extra board, and that meant you had to qualify to get a job on a regular route. And in order to qualify, you had to go over that ride over that route so many times, and you had to take a test on that route so you knew where everything was on that particular route. So Mr. Morgan at the time, Bob, he lived in New Hartford, I think maybe all of his life. and he was on the extra board out of Albany. And if you were on the extra board, you were on call 24/7. And after you went so many miles and so many hours, then you had to have off until you could qualify to go again. The railroad had strict, just like the trucking industry today.
That's what I was thinking of. So many hours on the road for everybody's safety.
Right, and the railroad still has that. If you go over your time limit, you just stop. Trains often will stop out in the middle of nowhere, including an Amtrak. And the railroad hires taxi companies, and that's all they do. These taxi companies is they work for the railroad, and they bring a new crew to the train, and then it can continue on its way. So, anyways, Mr. Morgan was asleep in a room in a railroad YMCA. They were popular in big cities where the crews would go, and also that's where the red light district has its origin. Well, the red light goes all the way back to the red cord that Rahab held out of her window in the city of Jericho, that when the Israelites took over the city, Rahab said, "Spare me and my family." And they said, "Well, you hang a red cord out your window and we will spare your house." And so they did. Rahab was like a lady of the evening. She lived in the city wall. And that's where the red light district goes all the way back to that incident. So, and then in railroading, the red light districts, brakemen, conductors, they had their lanterns. They were red in color so that trains approaching would see them and stop according to the signals and whatever like that. They would hang their lanterns on their doorknob where they spent the night. So that's how a district like that became called the red light district, and it doesn't always have the best connotations to it. Yeah. So our friend, Mr. Morgan, was he'd gone to bed for the night, but he was on the extra board. He was eligible to work, and the call boy came and pounded on his door and said, "You are to report to the Albany terminal and take the first section, which was the flying squadron section of the Ringling Brothers circus train to Utica, New York. You're to fire that section." The circus had torn plate at Menands, and it came down from Menands, and he took over there with the engineer. They went up the Albany Hill, they went through Schenectady, Amsterdam, and the circus trains or carnival trains, at the same time there were major carnivals that moved by rail. But carnivals, except for Straits, did not usually have animals. The Straits family, they had a menagerie. So anyways, they got to Yost, New York, which is on the main line of the New York Central. It's at the Big Nose, Little Nose curve. That area is renowned for rattlesnakes, and to this day. And it's a very well-known region curve. If you're driving down the thruway, you go around a big curve. And the West Shore Railroad, Route 5S, the thruway, the Mohawk River, the Barge Canal, the New York Central Main Line, and Route 5 all go through that area. Yeah. It's where one part of the Appalachian Mountains almost meets the other, and it's split by the Mohawk Valley. So they had to take on water, and there's water tank at Yost, New York, on that big curve. So they slowed down. Mr. Morgan went up on the tender, on the coal car, got his long iron rod, reached out, pulled out the spigot, opened up the tender, and started to put water in the engine. Low water in a steam locomotive can cause a disastrous boiler explosion.
Yeah, sure.
So are we okay on time?
Well, so we've got to wrap up in 1 second, just so I can break for news, and let's leave it there.
Okay.
So they're on the curve. They're about to pour the water in.
Right.
We'll pick it up there. WIBX 950, Utica, Rome. Stay with us. More history, World's Fair, Oneida County Fair, Boonville Fair, and much more. Plus your free money question of the day, all still to come. WIBX 950, Utica, Rome. This is Fox News.
Energy company Burisma to pay them millions of dollars, about $5 million each, in exchange for their help in getting fired a Ukrainian prosecutor who'd been investigating the company.
That's Fox's Kevin Cork. That's all from a document GOP Senator Chuck Grassley released detailing the allegations from an FBI source. Republican Congressman Jason Smith tells Fox.
It causes some great concerns that our president could be compromise to a foreign government.
Democrats say that Burisma CEO later denied the allegations in the document. As for the Ukrainian prosecutor fired, Vice President Biden did press forward amid an international push to remove him for corruption. Sweden is under siege in several Muslim countries.
The actions of one Iraqi-born demonstrator are causing mass outrage in the Middle East. In Stockholm, the protester burned a copy of the Quran and wiped his feet on photos of two high-profile figures, Iran's Ayatollah and a prominent Iraqi Shiite cleric.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. Now, they're still cleaning up tornado damage in the Rocky Mount, North Carolina area where the damage done to a Pfizer plant could lead to drug shortages at hospitals.
The company says that facility makes nearly 25% of its sterile injectable medicines used in U.S. hospitals. They produce anesthesia, therapeutics, anti-infectives, and neuromuscular blockers.
That's Fox's Jill Nato. There's an empty cell on Alabama's death row. James Barber got a lethal injection about 4 hours ago. The execution Barber said he deserved 22 years ago after confessing to murdering an elderly woman at her home. America's listening to Fox News.
When America's debt bubble bursts, it could destroy the value of your 401k or IRA. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend gold IRAs. And Birch Gold Group is the only gold IRA company I trust. Right now, you can get a free info kit on gold when you text the word PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to 989898 to request your no-cost, no-obligation info kit today.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
A Democrat running against President Biden ran into controversy in Congress.
I have never advised black Americans not to receive vaccines.
And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pushed back on his being labeled anti-vax at a hearing Republicans called to probe government censorship. Kennedy has had COVID-related posts removed online. He also sparred with Democrats like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who tried to stop the public hearing.
I move that we move into executive session because Mr. Kennedy has repeatedly made despicable anti-Semitic and anti-Asian comments as recently as last week.
In my entire life, I have never uttered a phrase that was either racist or anti-Semitic.
Kennedy's a distant second to President Biden in the polls. Another Democratic challenger is even further back.
The latest financial disclosures show Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson's campaign is about $270,000 in debt.
People want to invest in somebody they think actually has a chance.
Some former Williamson staffers have alleged to Politico that she's just trying to sell a book. A current campaign official pointed out how multiple candidates have run with recently published books. Williamson told the Fox News Rundown podcast it's unethical to say she's not a serious candidate.
Words like she's not a serious candidate or she's long shot, all these kind of subliminal messages. Yes, it creates, and purposely so, a strategized narrative by those who create it. And then, of course, this affects your fundraising.
Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are up the morning after the Dow rose a 9th straight day, the longest streak of gains since 2017. At the British Open, Christo Lamprecht, the Georgia Tech amateur who stunned the golf world, being tied atop the leaderboard with a 5-under par first round, just teed off on day 2, but he's no longer on top. American Brian Harmon has surged ahead. He's now at 8 under par. Tonight, the American women's soccer team plays their World Cup opener against Vietnam. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
All right, we have some sunshine and 67 degrees. WIBX news time is 8:05. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. We'll continue our conversation with Carl Trainer on the history of the Boonville Oneida County Fair coming up, and a couple more interesting stories as well. Stay tuned. We'll get back to that conversation in just a couple of minutes. Well, Governor Kathy Hochul and U.S. Senator Charles Schumer are expected to be in Syracuse today as they are hosting a groundbreaking event for the Interstate 81 project. It's been highlighted by President Joe Biden as a signature example of his bipartisan infrastructure act. The project has been going on for 15 years, though, and it's been slowed by several studies and lawsuits. The offshore wind power project at the Port of Albany will the first of its kind in the United States. Construction is currently underway where upgrades will be made and where foundation is being laid for a new manufacturing facility that will support the offshore wind power effort. The new facility will have the strongest structural capacity in the United States, and it's expected to hold up to 6,000 pounds per square foot. The project will cost between $600 and $700 million. There is about a $400 million funding gap, though, at this time. The Arena Football League remains a possibility for the Albany area. The MVP Arena General Manager Bob Belber saying one ownership group has emerged as a frontrunner and has been in talks with the Arena Football League. However, there is a hiccup and something that may derail the effort. The potential hangup is the annual workers' compensation premium of $1.5 million for arena football teams here in New York. That's 15,000% higher than it typically would be for other businesses and even for other arena teams located in other states. The AFL announced that their first 16 teams earlier this week, and more teams could be revealed in the very near future. WIBX News Time is 8:07. Slight chance of showers this morning, although looks like the sun's out right now. Here's what we can expect later this afternoon.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, not as warm. Couple scattered showers, a few gusty thunderstorms. Breezy afternoon, turning less humid late. High 77. Tonight, partly cloudy, mild, turning less humid, near 60. Tomorrow, breezy at times, isolated showers early, then partly to mostly sunny in the afternoon and evening. High 76. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Sunshine, 67 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:08. All right, checking sports. We'll hit some baseball quick here as the Mets were unable to complete a sweep against the Chicago White Sox. They dropped the series finale by a final of 5-2. Yankees were off last night. They opened up a series at home against the Kansas City Royals. The Yankees struggling of late. They've got 4 consecutive losses, and they've dropped 9 of their last 11. Sitting atop the American League East, though, are the Baltimore Orioles. They beat the Rays last night in 10 innings, 4-3. Colton Cowser plated the winning run on a sac fly in the 10th. Adley Rutschman and Ryan O'Hearn also plated runs for the O's, who improved to 5-2 since the All-Star break. They are now 1 game ahead of Tampa Bay for first place in the American League East. NASCAR hits the Long Pond in the Poconos this weekend. It's the highpoint.com 400. Martin Truex Jr. going for back-to-back wins after he picked up a victory at the Cran 301 in Loudon last week. The the Open Championship continues this weekend. After round 1, there are 3 players atop the leaderboard, including Tommy Fleetwood. Of course, that tournament going on at Royal Liverpool in England. That continues through Sunday. And the Washington Commanders are under new ownership. The NFL unanimously voted to ratify the sale of the Commanders, formally welcoming Josh Harris to their ranks. The vote came hours after the league's finance committee endorsed the sale and purchase agreement, which was first publicly announced in May. Shortly after the sale was approved, the NFL also said in a statement that it was fining former owner Dan Snyder $60 million after an investigation by former U.S. Attorney Mary Jo White on substantiated claims that he sexually harassed a former employee and that the team deliberately underreported revenues to the NFL. So even though he doesn't own the team anymore, he's got to pay a $60 million fine. Interesting. WIBX News Time 8:10. We get our Oneida County Senior Legion baseball update. Joining us now is Mike Michonne. You had, a semifinal and a championship game at Murnane last night. Mike, what happened?
Yeah, well, it was a great evening for American Legion Baseball. All the teams basically were coming down to elimination games, and that doesn't happen very often. But we had 3 teams that were sitting with 1 loss, and the first game was between Utica Post and Whitestown Post. That was a great game. Whitestown came back really strong after a 7-1 deficit, and I think it was the 4th inning, and they ended up winning the game 11-9. And so that was a great game to watch. Very exciting. Of course, the final game was done between Whitestown and Adrian, and another really well played game by both teams. A great pitching performance by Aiden Green. He's just a young college player. Didn't get a lot of playing time in high school, but came back and anybody that can hold Whitestown, their bats are just an awesome team. And Aiden did a great job. And so at the end of the day, Adrian won the game 9-6. And questions always keeps being asked of me is, when was the last time? And I could tell you when was the last time I won the district, and I could tell you I can't remember.
Wow.
It's been quite a while. So anyways, I think the message for a lot of people, a lot of fans, if you were at the game, I think the quality of the Legion baseball is starting to tick up a little bit. I think the young kids that are coming up and with our, starting a new prep league, I think everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised in another 3 years to see the kind of quality that's going to hit the field with the seniors. And just another thing, we're still battling in the district with the juniors. And today, up at Duluthus, Whitestown Post will play Smith Post at 1:00, and then Little Falls will face Utica Post at 4:00, and then the nightcap will be Utica Blue Sox juniors. The juniors will be playing Billion. Real tough team. It'll be a tough game for both teams because they're both pretty formidable, and that'll be at 7:00. And all those games are up at Duluthus.
If
watching
I'm not
the weather as we watched everything else.
Yep.
So, got to stay close to the website, nylegionbaseball.com.
nylegionbaseball.com. That's where I was getting my updates yesterday. I can tell you myself, I had a prep game in Sequoia last night, and you're right. It's another development league and an opportunity for the kids to get more reps, more swings, more throws, and to get better at baseball. So I completely agree with you. The other thing I wanted to mention, the Ilion, what is it, 17-0, right? If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it's one of those things where they had to make a choice this year. The American Legion is going through a transition period with, the battle that we always had with travel baseball, and it's still a battle for us. But I'm not sure that it's so much that as it is some decisions that end up being made. And unfortunately, Ilion was going to enter 3 teams. They were going to have a prep, they were going to have a junior, and they're going to have a senior. And they made a decision to drop the seniors and drop the prep and stick with the juniors. And I think this is an omen as to what kind of team they'll bring into the seniors next year. And obviously we allow them into the seniors, and hopefully, enough enthusiasm for, the prep league that they'll build a prep and, ultimately a junior, and kind of like get back into the normal scheme of things. It's a big commitment. There's no question. Oftentimes, I think the parents get completely worn out, they say, well, I don't know how much more of this I can take, whether it's the excitement or just the physical part of it. We're clearly at a place where, the people that come to the game are seeing a much better brand of ball. And I have to say, it's not what it used to be, but it looks like it's creeping back to what it used to be.
No, it's a great thing. Mike Michonne with Oneida County American Legion Baseball. So Adrian Post wins the Oneida County Senior Legion tournament, and they head to the States now?
Yeah, we'll be down in Binghamton. The actual games start the 26th. It's a 6-team pool play, a little bit different. And that will be starting the 26th, 27th, and then if required, we'd be the 28th. Hopefully not because of rain, but because of teams are jam packed and we got to get it in.
Yeah.
But that'll be tough. We got the teams the returning state champs from Greece, which is an outstanding team. They return again to defend their title. and an unusual event that doesn't happen very often. The OTB Pirates from Rockland County have been eliminated. They've been replaced by Orange County. That should be pretty interesting. And there's some good teams coming out of the Buffalo and out of the Southern Tier area as well. So that's going to be it'll be a test. It'll be a real test for Adrian going down there. Adrian has got some really good athletes on there. They battled and they proved themselves. As a fifth seed coming in and taking the whole thing.
Mike Michon, again with Oneida County American Legion. Thank you so much. Congrats. Adrian Post moves on to the state tournament on the senior level, and as Mike mentioned, on the junior level, the action continues at Duluth today, 1, 4, and 7, and you can get that full schedule of today's games at Duluth Field for Junior Legion at nylegionbaseball.com. Mike Michon, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jeff, one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
You're not a bad umpire, you know that?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have to stay with it. You gotta, stay on top of it. It's funny. A lot of crazy things happen that you don't expect to happen. As a matter of fact, I was watching a video last night, middle of a game, and it's a tough job, but I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care. Mike Michon with Oneida County American Legion Baseball. We'll jump to one more event. Carl, bear with me. I want to get to more of your stories because I find this real interesting. Let's go to Lou Rea because there's a delicious event going on this weekend, and, of course, it is Taste of Lebanon. Lou joins us now on the phone. Hey, Lou.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for allowing us to come on and promote our event.
No doubt about it. Go ahead.
The event is being held this weekend, tonight from 5 to 9. Saturday from noon to 9, and Sunday from 11 to 4. And the rundown for tonight is at 6:30 in concert. We're going to have a concert. We're having Primetime Horns. They're a great group from the Syracuse Utica area. And then tomorrow we open up at noon. We're going to have different activities for the kids. And at 4:30 p.m., one of our parishioners who has a national syndicated TV cooking show, Julie Tabuli, she'll be here from 4:30 to 5:30, and at 6:30 we have Soul Injection from Utica and the Valley. Great group. I think there's about 12 of them, and they're going to have a concert at 6:30. And we've got some great food: hummus, tabbouleh, chicken kebabs, chicken bowls. We also have our sweets, a number of raffles, and it's just a great way for us to come back to the Deerfield Fire Department on Trenton Road, since we were in a drive-through the past 2 years because of COVID, and to bring the community back to St. Louis Gonzaga Church at the Deerfield Fire Department to sample our culture, our foods, and have a great time. We have right around 500 seats for indoor seating and outdoor seating that's covered in case of inclement weather, and we invite the community to come up to this great event.
As it turns out, I think you're going to have some good weather this weekend. Once again, it's at the Deerfield Firehouse.
On Trenton Road.
Right up on Trenton Road.
Right.
Taste of Lebanon. So, again, give us the times for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. On Friday, it's from 5 to 9, Saturday from 11 to 9, and Sunday from 11 to 4. And I'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Lewiston Properties, Steve Pawnee Auto Group, Joe Tahan Furniture, and the Adirondack Bank. And we invite the community to come up, get out, have a good time, sample some of the best food, Lebanese food in New York State, and just come and sample our culture and our fellowship, and I'm sure you'll be more than happy. Absolutely.
And when is Soul Injection on the stage?
Soul Injection is on stage tomorrow night at 6:30. Concert, a 2-hour nonstop concert.
Awesome. Lou Rea?
That's going to be awesome.
Lou Rea with Taste of Lebanon. Again, that's going on this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. And, yes, absolutely, get out there and enjoy that food. That food is delicious.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lou Rea, Taste of Lebanon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Deerfield Firehouse, essentially. And, Smitty, that is on Trenton Road. You'll be up there, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably Sunday I'll stop up.
Yeah, it's a lot of really good food. All right, let's reset here for a second. It's 8:20, WIBX First News with Keeler in the morning. We're going to go back to our conversation here with Carl Trainer. Carl, thanks for your patience. We had a couple of things we wanted to squeeze in. Yeah, you can grab that mic, pull it right back up to you. We wanted to squeeze in a couple of things here, highlighting events that are going on this weekend. And, of course, we wanted to recap the baseball tournament there. We're talking about fairs, the history of fairs, the Boonville Fair, and then ultimately what became the Boonville Oneida County Fair. And, Carl, you've been telling us some interesting stories. You were talking to us about the trains moving through, the origin of the red light district and how that came to be a thing, the circus cars stopping in Utica, the circus train, I should say, stopping in Utica. Where do you want to pick this up?
Well, first of all, thank you for letting me on the show this morning. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here.
Thank you.
And like I said, WIBX has been a part of my life, all my life. And this show is a great show. I listen to it very often. It's always interesting, no matter who's on it. Mr. Keeler and you and the gentleman, and you do a terrific job.
Thank you.
And I also want to compliment you that during the pandemic, you had a doctor on quite often.
Yes.
That was excellent. I always felt that that was good information. It was reliable. It was interesting. It was excellent. It was
MVHS Dr. Kent Hall.
Yes.
And he still joins us each week.
And that's good. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hall.
It wasn't always what I or we wanted to hear, but it was excellent. So anyways, back on the New York Central in the 1940s after the war. So Mr. Morgan he was the fireman on that train, and he told the engineer, we've got to stop here at Yost, take on water. If you run a steam locomotive and the water goes low in the boiler tubes, you run a great risk that it will overheat and there will be a violent explosion. That happened in Canastota with the 20th Century Limited during World War II, and the crew was killed and the train was derailed because they were trying to make the track pans in Rome, where they would drop a chute and take water on going 80 miles an hour. Well, the circus train didn't have that kind of equipment, so they had to stop where there was big water tanks on that curve in Yost. I don't know if they got the water out of the Mohawk River or not. The water had to be treated on the railroads to run and operate the steam locomotives. So, and as I mentioned, that area was rattlesnake infested and still is in the Big Nose, Little Nose mountains there, the hills. There's a lot of rocks. The climate is just right for rattlesnakes, and you must use caution if you go off the road there on a hike or whatever like that. That's been known for years. And on the railroad, everyone was warned if you had to stop in that area and get off the train for whatever reason, to be very careful, because it was so rattlesnake prone. Timber rattlesnakes. They're also in the Hudson Valley, and they're in eastern New York. So Mr. Morgan, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, darker than the inside of your hat, and Mr. Morgan was in the process of putting water into the tender, and all of a sudden he felt this cold, slimy, circular, whatever you'd want to describe it, seemed long, going around his neck. And then it kind of subsided, and then it came back again, and it really felt like a snake. And being it was in the middle of the night and it was dark except for the little light from the locomotive and his flashlight and whatever like that, his imagination and rattlesnakes in the area really got the best of him. So he flung the pipe back and did a somersault down the coal and into the cab and told the engineer, we've got enough water, let's go. So they plodded along 30 miles an hour into Utica, and the circus always set up on Wurz Ave. It was really, the Wurz Ave is still there. It's in North Utica. I think it's near Babes. And that was the edge of the railroad yard, and it just happened to be, it was a big empty lot, and they could park the circus trains right there. The Ringlings loved playing Utica because they always got a big crowd. Other places, and the same with the carnivals, so Straits, World of Mirth, Ketlin and Wilson, they were all big railroad carnivals that played in New York State. If they would have to sometimes hire trucks and tractors and whatever to haul their wagons to the lot, which might be some distance away from where the railroad siding was. So they came into Utica. They got into Utica around 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was getting daylight, and Bob decided he was going to go and look over the train and see what had scared him so in the night. And he didn't have to look very far, and he didn't have to look very long. The elephant car was the first car behind the tender, and there was doors that opened up, little doors that opened up on the front of the car that would have gone right down onto the tender, and all of a sudden an elephant stuck his trunk out of that open door and dangled it around right where he was. And so he got what the cold, slimy, circular whatever was in the night that scared him, so it was the trunk of an elephant.
That's funny.
So the circus, the other 4 trains would arrive during the morning, and then the parade would kick off down Genesee Street, and Circus Day was well in progress. So we've deviated from the Boonville Oneida County Fair. The talk radio is huge now. I can remember growing up on this station, but I think it was after this event happened where WIBX had a morning talk show. It wasn't a syndicate. It was a local show. They had the Valley line, they had the Utica line, and they say we go up county to Rome and whatever. And it was topics of interest and similar to this show here, but it was on later on in the morning. So in 1970, the fair in Boonville, and we were by then I think we were the Boonville Oneida County Fair, was August 3rd to the 8th. And a gentleman came to Boonville that year from WIBX and broadcast every afternoon, Monday through Friday, from the fair on WIBX by the name of Brad Clay. He was a young man, and that was kind of like the beginning, as I remember it, of talk radio. And the funny part of that story is that in those days, Mr. Newell Wagner was the president of the fair. He was president of the fair from 1964 or 5 until he took the position of secretary in about 1995. He was president of the fair for about 40 years, and he was truly Mr. Boonville Fair. His wife was a great lady. She lived to be 100. And Mr. Wagner, who was a great guy, great person, he was in the insurance business in the North Country. And I inherited a lot of love of history from him. He was a walking encyclopedia, and he loved to visit. He was the Pope of visiting. So I studied under him for years. Well, he was president of the fair, and he lined up the daily guest on WIBX that week of the fair. And I can see the booth, WIBX, and it was in the commercial building, and Mr. Clay always had on a suit every day, and he was on, I think the show went from 1 to 4. So during maybe a half hour, an hour of each afternoon, Mr. Wagner would bring someone in from the fair. One day it was the Hell Drivers, another day it was someone from the exhibit hall, the different facets of the fair.
Sure.
Well, he told the story by Friday afternoon, they'd interviewed everyone from the fair. And that was the last year that the carnival had a burlesque or a go-go show traveling with them. The sideshows, the motorcycle running around in the barrel, and the girly shows or the burlesque shows, they were staples of the American Carnival. And every carnival had one of those shows or all 3 of them. So that was the last year of the girly show. And I remember I was too, when I got old enough to maybe go in, they quit having them. But so anyways, Mr. Wagner, ever resourceful, went over to the girly show headquarters and brought over a couple of the girls that performed in the show. The show didn't operate in the afternoon. It was just in the evening. And the carnivals, the big carnivals like World of Mirth and Straits and Ketlin and Wilson and Amusements of America, Reithoffers, they might have 2 girly shows on there, especially for the big fairs. And they were a very interesting entity. A lot of them were high class. They were more like a Broadway review or a Hollywood review. They didn't go too far in revealing things. Usually the carnival owned the show, so they had a very tight control on it. But the contracts for the fairs, for the carnivals, would be renewed sometimes every year, sometimes every other year. And on the big carnivals, like the World of Mirth or Straits, oftentimes when it came time to renew the contract, the carnival owner would hire a bus or a couple of buses, and the fair board wives would go off to dinner and maybe a boat ride on a lake or a local attraction. And the gentlemen that would renew the contract would have their own dinner at the cookhouse on the carnival. Carnivals always had a big cookhouse that traveled with them, so just like Ringling Brothers. The people ate in that cookhouse. They were usually a Greek family or an Italian family. Coleman had a renowned cookhouse, Midway Diner. So the carnival owner would buy steaks and they'd entertain the fair board on contract to renew the contract. And then after that, the carnival owner would often say to the fair board, all men, because the wives had been, taken, well, come on over, we'll have a look at the girly show. So they go over to the go-go show, and the carnival owner might say to the dancing girls and whatever, like some of them had an orchestra, they were elaborate, but he might say, girls, tune it up a little here for these gentlemen. And then, of course, after that, they'd go over to the office and they'd renew the contract. But the dinner and the entertainment helped in renewing it. It was competitive. It was competitive business. That's what I love, the human interest part of the carnival business, and the fact that, like I was telling during the break, if you went up to the Lewis County Fair on Saturday night at 10 o'clock, the place will be right in high gear. And by noon the next day on Sunday, there won't be anything there. It'll all be down in Boonville, setting up at the Boonville Oneida County Fair. It's very hard work. So, but talk radio, in a way, in this area, we like to think had its kind of a starting point at the Boonville Oneida County Fair with Mr. Clay, Brad Clay.
Interesting. Carl Trainer from the Boonville area, he's lived there his whole life, was giving us some history on Boonville, county fairs. We talked about a number of different topics. Of course, the Boonville Oneida County Fair is next week. Monday begins with the talent show, and then the parade on Tuesday, the parade is?
Yes.
And then you've got a full slate of activities. Unfortunately, Carl, we are out of time. Believe it or not, it's like 8:35 already. Can I... Because Joe Lode loves to plug everything, you got to give us one more plug on Joe. What is he, Wednesday night at the
Hofbrau?
The Hofbrau.
Hofbrau is a German name for a beer garden.
Okay.
And it's located on the Boonville Fairgrounds, right next to one of the main exhibit halls. And another hallmark of our fair and many others has been country western music. And this year our headliner is on Saturday night, and that is Chris Cagle at 7:30 at the grandstand, and I believe tickets are still for sale.
And Smitty, you're going to that show, aren't you?
Yes, Saturday
Thanks to
night.
Joe Lode, if I'm not mistaken.
I will look for you. We will have to have a hot sausage on the Midway.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Carl, it's been very interesting. I appreciate it.
Thank
and
you.
be sure to check out Joe Lode on Wednesday night at the Highbrow Hofbrau is what I'm calling it. So, Carl, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll have you back again. A quick timeout. We've got trouble in the other room. Paul Buckley's here. But it's interesting and important, and we want to share the news with you here on the Keeler in the Morning show. Back after this on WIBX.
Hi, this is Rob Hilton of Hilton Estate and Elder Law with important information that you should know regarding your estate planning. Specifically, you should have prepared what is known as the Big Three. Basic estate planning is comprised of the three main documents that you need. First is the will, next is the healthcare proxy, and last is the power of attorney. What most people don't know is how important of the three the power of attorney really is, because New York State has no simple method for you to act on another's behalf if they become incapacitated. I am often asked, what is probate and why is it needed? Probate is the act of administering the will through the New York State court system. It requires a filing fee and other actions to be taken, as well as a petition to be filed. It is time-consuming and can be expensive. It can be avoided by using a living trust. To find out more about strategies to protect your loved ones through proper estate planning, contact us at Hilton Estate and Elder Law. Call for more information and to schedule an in-person meeting to answer your questions.
Hilton, you know the name. They know the law. Hilton Estate and Elder Law.
The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients right now. If you're in need of a new family doctor or a new physician, a private practitioner, maybe your doctor is retired or you're looking for something different, the answer is in Washington Mills at the Falcon Clinic. This is Bill Keeler. Call today. Sleep, fatigue, pain, ADHD, you're not feeling well, you need an annual checkup, you need a physical. And it goes even further if you needed counseling. There's counseling for everything from smoking addiction to substance abuse, acupuncture, all under one roof. And then there's the osteopathic approach. The area's premier osteopathic medical clinic, the Falcon Clinic, is accepting patients right now. Call them today. Dr. Shemaleski, Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Kosminski, all there under one roof. Call 315-507-4751 for the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills.
If you're looking for flooring, boy, do I have the perfect place for you. This is Bill Keeler, and I highly recommend Sarah's Flooring Outlet, the area's leading flooring store. They have the absolute largest inventory in Central New York, and it's a brand new store at the Route 49 Plaza in Marcy. And if you're looking for Pergo Extreme, they have a price guarantee anywhere in the area within a 60-mile radius of their store. It's a pretty awesome deal, and you know you're going to get the best deal at Sarah's. Log on to their website at sarahsflooringoutlet.com and sign up to save $50 off your next purchase of $500 or more. You can shop online or in the store. You will not find a better selection than in Sarah's Flooring Outlet. See why more people buy from the big store. Its selection, its price, and it's a 6-month interest-free financing. Log on to the website in sarahsflooringoutlet.com and see for yourself, or visit their store in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road in Marcy.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
Fred F. Collis & Sons Heating and Cooling and Insulation. And with all the smoke pollution we've been dealing with this spring and summer, maintaining good indoor quality is more important than ever. Call on Fred F. Collis & Sons to make sure your indoor air quality solutions are perfect for your home. This is Bill Keeler. Let's talk about cooling, as it's been so hot this summer. Collis has many different options for you. First, it could mean repairing your AC and bringing it up to tip-top shape, or possibly a heat pump. A perfect idea for cooling. A popular type of heat pump that Collis is proud to offer is the ductless mini split. And they have great programs available through the state to assist you in getting financing on the program. And in some cases, some people have had the entire project paid for. Another important step is keeping your home cool all summer long with upgrades to your home's insulation. And Speaking of installation, Collis is hiring for insulation installers. No experience necessary. They're holding an open interview day at their Yorkville office on Commercial Drive, Wednesday, July 19th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. No experience required. They're also looking to hire a crew leader, and that would require experience. You can go to their website, fredfcollis.com. There's a place right there to actually apply right online. Call them, 315-768-2323. Fred F. Collis & Sons, Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, Yorkville, Rome, and Syracuse.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
I'm back here, First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX. Of course, Keeler off, enjoying his vacation. He's back with us on Monday. And we've got a guy who always is the last cut when it comes to guest hosting. It's Paul Buckley. We always want to have you in, but then we realize for legal and financial reasons, it's probably not a good idea.
You're riding that delay button all day.
What's going on, darling?
Nothing, sweetheart. How are you?
What are you up to? You brought all these kids in with you. Do you know this man? Did he lure you with like candy in a van or something like that?
Yes, exactly how I did. No, they're film students from MVCC, and they came to me because they want to do movies here in Utica, and so I got them set up with an LLC through Thinkubator. This is all through MVCC, which is great because now they got the film program, and they go right out of that, and they want to start their own little company, and they'll tell you all about their company. Now they start up a new company, new film company, and they're all collaborating together. They're all artists doing it, doing the thing. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And they're going to start rolling here in Utica real soon, and I'm looking forward to working with them or working for them. I'm just going to point them in the right direction because they're all, they're a lot younger than I am. Everybody is, but anyway. I can't wait to see what they come up with. It's
taking
exciting.
Directions from Paul Buckley. This might be doomed before you even begin, guys. I don't know.
Oh, you're flattering me.
I'm kidding. Buck's great, and we love him. Nice job. Where are you all from? He says you're all local. Are you all local?
Yeah, I'm from North Utica.
Oh, great.
I'm from Newport, New York, which is a little far away, but not too far.
No, not too far at all.
I'm from South Utica. I'm from Holland Patton.
Wow, they really are.
I live in Westmoreland.
In Westmoreland and
in the Vernon area.
Awesome. And you guys are all collaborating on, this is one company that you're forming, and you're all going to have like your own projects, or tell us how that would work.
Yeah, so our idea was we all like filmmaking. We all want to be filmmakers, so we thought the best way to do that was to team up with folks who also want to do it and combine our resources and work together. So we thought we'd form like a production collective where it wasn't really about one person, but about all of us and all of us, mutually achieving success. So we started doing that. I believe May is when we first got together and started we all want to make our own film, direct our own film, write our own story. So we're doing 4. Some of us are teaming up. Carly and Kelsey are directing one film. Jonas is directing one. Suli and I are directing a film, and Josh is directing his own film. All original screenplays and original ideas. And we're just going to go one at a time. We're starting with theirs first, and we're going to try to,
Tell us about the first project. How did you come up with the idea? And then also tell us, you need people, right? You need places to shoot. You need actors, actresses. Is that right?
Yeah, so right now we're looking for actors. So the first film we're going to do is Carly and Kelsey's, if they want to talk about it, the story, and what they're looking for.
Yeah,
of course.
There you go.
So we're producing a short film called Bumps in the Road, and it is the story of 2 girls on an ill-fated road trip through the Adirondacks where they unfortunately find themselves guilty of vehicular manslaughter. We're very excited. We've already got some people cast. There are people who actually worked in the MVCC production of Leading Ladies, and they're very funny, they're very talented, so we're excited to work with them. But we're still looking for a few more people to audition and show us what they can really do so we can, combine our talents. We would like to emphasize this is a comedy film. Yes. Yeah, it's not a...
It was getting a little heavy there. Yeah, it was getting a little heavy.
Well, it's a confusing time in the world, and sometimes you hit someone with your car, and you got to figure out what to do about that. Do you take responsibility with insurance rates being what they are? I think that's a real core in our
That's interesting.
film.
So are you all recently graduated? Are you still students graduating soon?
I graduated this year.
Yeah, I'm still a student.
That's awesome. Just
Still a student.
still a student.
I think we're about, what, 50-50 in the still a student and...
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a headquarters where you write and you collaborate and you plan to do these things? Are you looking for that?
Well, right now we're meeting at MVCC. We're making use of the Learning Commons, which is an area in Wilcox Hall there. But eventually we would like to move into, like, get our own office space or something.
Call it Crow's Nest Pictures is their name. I think it's very clever.
Crow's Nest?
Crow's Nest Pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like
How'd you come up with that name?
We did kind of like the most basic thing is we thought crows were just cool. It's cool animals, smart animals. You know, we thought they were animals that would be good to represent us. And we also learned a little bit later that there's actually a large migration of crows coming to the area. So we thought that was a cool little coincidence with our name and then the local area. And then pictures, just because it kind of sounds classy instead of productions or.
I like that.
Yeah, Buck, go ahead and grab that mic. So you know about the crow situation in South Utica, right? You still deal with that all the time.
You should see my daughter's car.
Yeah, polka dots.
It is.
So how are you involved? How did you get involved with them, and what is it you're trying to help them with?
Rainey Van Wagner came to me, the president of MVCC, asked me if I could help these kids out. And I hate to say kids, I'm sorry, please forgive me. But they came to me, and the first thing I said, I go, they want to go on location. So if they have to have insurance to go on location, because if something goes wrong, someone's going to get sued or whatever. So I called up Frank DeRoss at the Thinkubator, and he hooked him up with somebody. I don't know who you talked to down there, but it's all part of MVCC. So the ripple effect is fantastic. So they went from the school for film, and then they got their insurance. Now they're set up as Crow's Nest Pictures. They've got their insurance, so now I can send them anywhere they want to go. For locations, if the locations are agreeable, because the first thing everybody says, are they insured? It's all liability, because someone may get hurt, some equipment may get broken or something like that, and then what happens?
Right.
So they're all set, they're ready to roll, and I'm just waiting for them to start rolling some film or video, whatever.
So, and then tell me about the Facebook page, Utica, or Film Utica's posts, because you were trying to get me to share a...
Well, that was for them to... Well, you discuss that, your QR code.
So we just created a website. We just launched it on Monday. One day it was. So if you want to go, it's called www.crowsnestpictures.com. It's where you can find any information about us. And also linked there is an Instagram page. We have a Facebook page. And we have a TikTok page, all by the same name, Crow's Nest Pictures. And also there, if you're interested in auditioning for any of our parts and keeping up to date on what we're doing, that's where you can submit auditions, and we'll post updates and stuff like that there. So that's the best place to go if you want interested in following us and seeing what we're up to.
You keep doing like a mic drop. I ask you a question, and then you do this.
Well, can you put the QR code up on your website for a while?
I can. I can try to anyway. I can share it on our Facebook.
All right.
Well, let me ask you this: you created a database, right, with
Films
headshots
Utica,
and
yes,
stuff like that.
Yes.
So, are they able to use that? And are you still looking for people to submit for that?
It's there for anybody. Films Utica is there for anybody. So, if you're an actor, or you've got locations, or you have just certain talents or whatever, just go to filmsutica.com and submit your stuff. Lisa Wilsey up there, who runs the whole show, she's the brains. I'm the boots, and she has files of everything. So when someone comes in, they say, I want this, I want that. She show what we have, and if we haven't got it, I'll go find it.
So we were talking before about the tax credits and some of the benefits to filming, editing, doing audio and stuff in Utica. Is there an additional credit or benefit if you're from Central New York? There should be.
I don't think so. No. You come here, you come here from out of town, you can still get tax credits.
Yeah.
So,
but there's no added benefit for being born and bred in the area.
Okay?
Yeah, this is New York.
Right. So
this is New York.
Nothing.
So once again, tell us what it is you're looking for, how our listeners can help you, and then mention your websites and social medias again.
So right now we're looking for actors who might want to play roles in our movies, and if they want to audition, they can, like I said, go to the website www.crowsnestpictures.com, where they can see character bios, roles that are available, and a place to submit. We also have linked to the website a GoFundMe if you're interested in helping fund us. That's kind of like the biggest hurdle in filmmaking, I feel like, is getting funds. So if you want to help out, that'd be really amazing. The small donation of $5 to a bigger donation, anything helps, and we really appreciate it. And yeah, so that if again www.crowsnestpictures.com, and then you can follow us on Instagram. All of our social media's got the same name, Crow's Nest Pictures, and we'd really love any help and support. And if anyone's interested in acting,
I think this is awesome what you guys are doing. I love the collaboration element of it. I love that you guys are trying to make movies and do all kinds of really cool stuff. And you're from here, and you went to MV.
Yeah,
I think this is
wonderful.
a great thing.
It's great for the area. And,
yeah.
And on top of that, at MVCC now, we're in, I don't want to say in bed with MVCC Films Utica. We're collaborating together, so we're going to be doing a lot of stuff together. So it's wonderful. I mean, this just happened this past week. So things are happening. Films Utica is starting to snowball, and we got a film coming in the fall. So things are great. And we got a film festival coming up in August. I think on Varick Street. I'll be in later to plug that. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is great. I'm very excited about it. And to see these young, fresh faces, and they're all excited about this.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. I mean, I was just telling them how I started up in Lake Placid during the Olympics, and it was very exciting back then. And to see their faces and how excited they're about it, this is very encouraging for films in Utica, and I couldn't be happier.
We wish you guys all the best of luck. If you're listening and you can support them, please support them, whether it's sending them possible actors or maybe sending them a financial donation to help get off the ground. It would be a great thing. Crow's Nest Productions is what it is.
Pictures.
Oh, yeah, pictures.
And
sorry.
If you do send in an audition, this won't be just for this one film. They'll have you in a pool of talent, so they may call you for another film. So submit your auditions and let's go. Let's get this thing going.
All right,
Help
guys.
these kids out as much as possible.
Thank you so much and good luck. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. Buck, we'll talk to you again soon.
You know you will. Probably
All right.
today.
A quick timeout. We'll come back with more. It's First
Thank you,
News
Jeff.
Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Do you want me to say something about the movie?
Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Chuck is ready with coffee, espresso, lattes, iced coffee, and, of course, fresh bagels and fresh donuts every single day. Try the pistachio latte this summer. It is delicious, and it is a quencher. It's Daylight Donuts in the village of New Hartford.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Enjoy a group outing this summer at Saratoga Racecourse. Reservations are now available for the climate-controlled paddock suite, accommodating 80 guests. And for large-scale corporate gatherings at the rail at the 1863 Club. Head down the stretch to the Stella Artois Spa verandas for groups of 50, or tailgate at the Turn with a carload of friends. For casual outdoor gatherings undercover, featuring buffet lunch with Prosecco offerings. Enjoy the Mionetto Easy Goer. Visit Naira.com to book your Saratoga group outing today.
That huge data breach from a few weeks ago has probably moved off your radar, but your information could still be on the dark web. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious activity, like someone using your info. If there's a problem, LifeLock's U.S.-based identity restoration specialists will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but LifeLock will help protect your identity long after this breach is forgotten. Save up to 25% your first year. Use promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
In Sarah's Flooring Outlet is the area's leading flooring store for Pergo Extreme, and Sarah's is the area's leading flooring store for anything flooring. Hardwoods, tile, carpeting, they have you covered with the largest inventory. You're going to get the best selection, the best price, and on Pergo Extreme by Mohawk, it's a guarantee. They have the 60-mile radius deal, and that is, it's a guarantee where you get the best price on Pergo Extreme anywhere within a 60-mile radius of the store. Pergo Extreme from Sarah's offers deeper visuals, a better protection, and a deeper warranty. It's worry-free for life, 100% dent-proof, waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof, only at Inceras. We had hardwood floors put in by a craftsman from Inceras Flooring Outlet. They're beautiful, and the service was top-notch. If you're looking for flooring, why would you go anywhere else? You would go to the place where they have the largest inventory in all of Central New York. It's Inceras Flooring Outlet. And you can get 6 months interest-free financing right now in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and always online at InserasFlooringOutlet.com.
Check out Mattress Express's grand opening of their new superstore in New Hartford, 4480 Commercial Drive next to Pet Supply Plus, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy Hybrid, Purple, Puffy, the Number Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish, and more. Stop in, open 7 days a week.
Do you feel like your current checking account just isn't working for you anymore? Maybe monthly fees are cutting into your already tight budget, or maybe you're looking for more convenience with additional bells and whistles that allow you to accomplish more with less work. Whatever your reason, it might be a great time for you to check out the lineup of accounts at Adirondack Bank. From no-frills basic accounts to paperless high-yield accounts, we're sure to have the perfect solution for your needs. We also offer a large selection of extras such as customizable debit cards, electronic statements, online banking and bill pay, mobile banking, and mobile deposit. We also have a great client services team ready to answer your questions with our live chat. Visit our website at www.adkbank.com. Use the checking comparison tool and see which options are best for you. That's adkbank.com. Member FDIC.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability and versatility built in, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Z-Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Visit your local Kubota dealer for a demo today.
Log on or give us a call today at whitesfarmsupply.com.
White's Farm Supply. The Rome Capitol Theater presents Drive-In Double Feature Night. Tonight at 7.
Projected on 35mm film.
Curse of the Demon and It, the Terror from Beyond Space.
Plus vintage drive-in trailers, coming attractions, and drive-in style food and concessions. It's the Drive-In Double Feature experience inside the Capitol Theater. Tonight at 7. For more information, visit RomeCapitol.com.
Hey, I've shared the importance of every school having a Knox entry access system that quickly gets law enforcement into locked doors when needed. Now, tragically, the importance continues. 18 U.S. school shootings have occurred from January through March. Now, many schools have a Knox entry system, but the statistics illustrate the need and importance for all schools to provide law enforcement with quick access to locked doors. Now, you can learn more about Knox entry when you go to schoolentry.com. Do it today, schoolentry.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, back to wrap things up here on Keeler in the Morning. Bill is back with us live on Monday. We're going to recap. I want to say thank you to Carl Trainer for joining us. Gave us a bit of a history lesson this morning. He did an excellent job. Smitty, you enjoyed that.
Sure did. Fast and information by Carl.
Rose in Utica says, Carl Trainer, not only is he extremely knowledgeable, but he's the nicest person around. And Kevin in Utica says, one part of the Utica Brewery Tour displays a desk given to FX Matt from P.T. Barnum. Does Carl know anything about that? So next time we talk to Carl, I will ask him that question. I didn't see that. That actually question didn't even come over until, unfortunately, we had wrapped up the segment. But thanks for the question and the comment. I'll pass that along to Carl the next time we speak. Taste of Lebanon coming up this weekend. Tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. They've got Soul Injection performing on the stage at 6:30 tomorrow, but obviously some great food and entertainment at Taste of Lebanon at the Deerfield Firehouse, which is on, help me with, Trenton Road.
Yep.
In just past North Utica. Baseball Hall of Fame this weekend. Who's going?
Who's going in?
McGriff and Rowland.
Scott Rowland, yep.
But you're going.
Yep.
Uncle Jimmy going?
Uncle Jimmy's going. We're going ahead and making the trek down tomorrow.
Tell Jim I said hello.
Sure will.
What else did I forget? Oh, the Boonville Oneida County Fair next week. Stay tuned. We'll have more info on that to pass along as well. WIBX 950 Utica Rome. Have a great weekend.
Has died. I'm Dave Anthony.
Fly me to the moon.
Tony Bennett.
And let me play among the stars.
He himself was a star.